StoryChat with John Fornof, the art and passion of storytelling. Here's your host, Bryan Bullabush.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to StoryChat, our little corner of the internet where we hope to educate and inspire you guys about the art and passion of storytelling. How you doing, John? How you doing?
I'm doing better.
Doing better? Doing a lot better. Good.
Yes, I'm doing better.
Good. Just want to remind everybody that the Art of the Start will be this weekend, the 29th. We'll talk about that a little bit more at the end of the show. If you haven't registered, while you listen to us for the remainder of the podcast, go and register by either going to our Facebook page and clicking on the link or emailing me at storychatwithjohn@gmail.com saying, hey, I want to be part of the class. If you want a little bit more about it, listen to our last week's episode. You'll hear all about it. We talk about it and soliloquize about it. So,
wow, I didn't even know I did that.
Yeah, well,
accidentally.
John, you can be quite elegant. You can be quite elegant. Yeah, you are quite elegant.
Oh my! Wow, I've never been called that, but thank you. I'll take it. I'll take it. I'll take it. And we can talk more about that. Remind me. We can talk more about that at the end too. So
yeah, just wanted to plug that. So while you're listening, go sign up.
Yes,
that'll be what's the time again?
It is January 29th at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern, and it's going to be just. I can't wait to tell you. I got to tell you just a quick thing. We'll tell you more later. It's called the Art of the Start. And if you want to take your writing to another level, or you're having trouble getting started, or you're hitting some kind of obstacle, we're going to help you with that. And it's a $500 seminar, but it's free. And I'm going to bonus you. I'm going to bring in another writer, Robert Lipparillo, who is a fantastic Christian. Look him up. Christian thriller writer, Dreamhouse Kings. He did 7 acclaimed thrillers. These are being made into movies. He's going to be with us. Brian's going to be there. You're going to be there, and you can chat with us. Ask us any question. It's a 3-hour seminar, and again, it's free. So, hello.
There's no reason not to.
Yeah. So there you go.
So this week you were talking a little bit just to get us started about you're coming up across the obstacle of that, just that hitting point in writing, and directing and producing. And tell me a little bit more about, because you said this was kind of on your heart, just about obstacles.
Yeah, thank you. So what's going to happen? I just want to prepare you. As if you've already been writing or directing or producing any kind of creative activity, you'll know this already. But even as you're starting, I don't want to discourage you, but I want you to be ready, prepared. You're going to hit an obstacle. All right, it's going to happen, and it's okay. Obstacles are opportunities in disguise. Opportunities. Okay, I'm going to say it again. I'm going to try to say it correctly, the correct way. Obstacles are opportunities in disguise. So what looks to you like a big wall, it's like, oh wow, this is a big wall. I don't know, how am I gonna, if you step back just a little bit, that's not a wall, it's a step. It's a giant step. And what's a step do? But it takes you from where you are to where you need to be. And I believe in divine providence. I believe there is someone at work who is challenging us with obstacles in a good way so that we can step up, rise to the next occasion.
What are some of the most common obstacles? Like, I can think of like writer's block being one of the primary ones, unless that's not what you're talking.
Oh, sure. Writer's block, or
what are some of the other ones?
Or you get through a 3/4 through a story, and all of a sudden you hit it. It's like, how am I going to get through this? Like, I've backed my hero into a corner. I don't know how to get them out. Or it could be it's something outside a story. You're working with a producer. We're going to talk about that in a little bit later too. You're working with a producer, and they have a different vision than you do. This happens in all fields of creativity. Actually, in life, you'll hit obstacles. Don't be afraid of obstacles. With directing, every time, here's what I want to share with you. I'm going to encourage you with this. It sounds, I don't realize when I say this, it didn't sound like an encouragement, but you're going to run into obstacles. Okay. Here's my encouragement to you. That's part of the process. Embrace that obstacle. And tell you what, even bigger than embracing the obstacle, embrace the lesson of the obstacle. Sometimes we're so focused on the problem, we miss the lesson of the problem. The lesson of the problem is going to be a treasure you take. In video games, you know how it is. I'm not a video game player, but you can help me with Brian if I'm
okay. Yeah, I am a video game player, so
okay, there you go. So you pick up a treasure, right? and it powers you up, right? And it takes you to another level, and then you pick up a treasure there. Every time you go through an obstacle, you're going to pick up a treasure. So don't be so focused on the obstacle. Be looking for that treasure. What's the treasure is when you solve it? Oh, you powered up. Okay. And so I want to encourage you, if you're facing an obstacle, don't be discouraged by that obstacle. Embrace the lesson of the obstacle.
There's another, if I may, a video game analogy I actually gave my dad years ago, and I don't remember how old I was, but it wasn't me saying this, because I think he needed to hear this at the time. Hi, Dad, if you're listening. I know because he listens to the podcast. But there was one time, it was like, we keep facing obstacle and obstacle and enemy and enemy and enemy, and I just kind of looked back and said, well, in video games, if you're not facing an enemy, usually that means you're going the wrong way.
That's very insightful. I like that.
Because you'll keep going. If you're going the right way, it's realistic. The game designers have made it for you to progress, and in order to progress, you got to chew your way through enemies and progress. If you're going the wrong way, there's no enemies behind you.
Which it's interesting. I'm reticent to say this because I hope nobody's listening. But on this
there's a lot of people listening, John. You're on a podcast. You're on your podcast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll just keep it among us.
Just us.
Yes, it is like it's kind of boring without obstacles. If
That's
everything
true.
is just like a smooth road, I've had shows that I write and it's like it just flows. I love that. Now that's fun. Oh my goodness, that's fun. But if it's like that every single time, it's like, what am I learning? How am I growing? Like, obstacles are opportunity. Remember, obstacles are opportunities in disguise. They're opportunities to grow. They're opportunities to step up. And so that's why you want to welcome those obstacles when they come.
I think I could be horribly misquoting here, but I have a distinct memory of Bobby Jones. I don't know if you've seen that movie, Bobby Jones Strokes of Genius. Really good, about a world-class golfer.
Okay. And
I'm pretty sure, like, he was an amateur. He did not play professionally. Nobody paid him to play, but he was like the best in the world. And I think in the one point in the movie, he turned to somebody and said, "I would rather lose than win." Because losing means I learned something.
Yeah, there you go. Losing means you learn something.
Now, nobody likes to lose. Don't get me wrong. Like that does suck. But if you're winning all the time, you're not learning anything.
Yeah, and you might get a big hit.
That's true.
Losing kind of gives you that nice dose of humility, which is important as you move on. And I remember a mentor of mine said, if you ever stop learning, that's when you go down the toilet. Is how he put it. But it's like you got to keep learning. And me, I'm always learning. I'm running into obstacles. Like with directing, every time I direct, I've got some kind of new obstacle. Like. Okay, I'll share this one. So I'm getting ready to direct a show. I won't tell you which one. And I'm getting ready to direct a show, right? And meantime, the script that I wrote, in conjunction with our producer or whatever, anyway, it got rewritten the night before. I didn't know this. I mean, totally rewritten. And so so here's a challenge. I'm getting ready to direct this show, right? And I look at the script and it's not what I wrote. It's something totally different. And what they did was they took chunks out of a book and just cut and pasted and stuck it in the script. It's like, this is an audio drama. It's not a book. It's like, and I'm looking at this like, how am I going to direct this? So that was a challenge, right? That's an obstacle. What am I going to do?
How did you overcome that? Like, mentally, what was your plan of attack?
I did not handle it well. Because I was not happy. All right. I'll just be honest. I was not happy. It's like, I can't do this. So I went through it, and we the dialogue was like pages, for one person to talk. It was so bad. It was a narrator talking on and on. So here's what we did. Here's what God did. By the way, there's always the God factor. And if you're not a Christian, you're missing it, because there's so many adventures with a God. And, I'm not proselytizing. I just love him. And he's made this life an adventure for me. And he's
Amen.
So close, such a good God. So anyway, here's what he did for me. This is kind of funny. So here's the obstacle, right? This show has been rewritten by, anyway, it got rewritten, right?
Good catch.
I'm choosing my words carefully, and I'm supposed to be directing this. And here's what happened. Our main actor did a show the night before, and our producers don't do that. You're gonna run into problems. You got to save your voice. And the actor, he's, oh no, I can handle it. He got laryngitis.
Oof, that'll do it.
So he's doing this part, and all of a sudden his voice starts to go out. And I'm thinking, this looks like an obstacle, but it's actually an opportunity, because he got laryngitis. We had to redo the show. We had to re-record it because it wasn't usable. So guess what I got to do? I got one more chance to say, this is not working. Here's why. So we're going to have to re-record his parts. But before we're going to rewrite this and make it right. And we did.
Yep.
So that's something, like, every obstacle is an opportunity in discussion.
That actually reminds me of, you're familiar with what ADR is, right?
Mm-hmm, yeah.
So for my thesis film for college,
let's tell people what it is. People know what it is. ADR, automatic dollar replacement. Go ahead.
Yes, basically, approximately 70 to 60% of the dialogue you hear in the movies, in like Marvel grade professional movies, are not them speaking on set. It's them speaking into a microphone, basically voice acting, redoing what they did because something was wrong. I know for a role that I did, my voice was the exact same frequency as the generator that was running in the background. So whenever they tried to kill the generator frequency on Pro Tools, they would kill my voice. So I had to completely ADR that scene. That was fun. But there was a bit of an obstacle. I was not happy with the audio. I was fine with the physical, but his voice wasn't what I wanted. So I was like, oh great, I want to have to ADR basically the entire thing. Well, no, I'm going to have to live with it. Well, turns out the entirety of the audio for my thesis was completely too low. It was recorded way too low, just unusably too low. So I had to go back through my entire 15-minute thesis and re-record everything and basically remix it as an audio drama. And we spent days in the booth re-recording things with I only had 4 actors in my film, with all of them. But it gave me the opportunity to redirect and get the performance that I wanted. And I was very happy with what I got at the very end. So that was a major obstacle. But I think the product was better in the end. So thank you to my wife for doing all of that audio work, because I cannot stand Pro Tools. That's just me.
Oh, I hear you. There's another story to share with you, encourage you. This is where I first got the idea about, this is how you look at things, especially if you want to get into producing. By the way, if you've got a knack for that, or as a producer, you get more control over projects when you're working on them. So if you can't be a writer / producer, writer / director, that's another plus for you when you can do that little hyphenate thing. But here's what happened. I was producing a national TV spot for Focus on the Family, and it was it was the Chronicles of Narnia, and I got to direct this actor, amazing actor who was from Lord of the Rings, John Rhys Davis. I got to direct him, and so it's amazing. He was so kind, and he's got the big voice of John. I mean, with John, the
man's a legend.
Normal things and makes this is a piece of paper, and go. He just has that way of talking, So anyway, he did the spot for us, did a beautiful job, and my job was to produce the spot. So I directed him, wrote it, all the kind of stuff, and I had this the director of films there was going to, I said, I need you to shoot these scenes. I had storyboarded it all out, and I need to do this because I'm going to Burbank to record Adventures in Odyssey. And by the time I come back, I need you to have these things done because we're on a tight deadline. Oh, yeah, sure, we'll get it. Okay, no problem. Okay, so here's what it is. I mapped out the locations. Here's what you do. Da, 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 da. There you go. Thank you very much. Make sure you do this because we're tight deadline, right? Okay. So I go off to Burbank, come back, and I said, okay, we're ready to go, right? And he goes, oh yeah, I didn't get around to doing that. And I was just shocked. It's like,
your
it's
gob
sort of like
was smacked.
Yes, my gob was smacked, exactly. And I don't know what a gob was, but it was smacked. And and it was like, I don't get angry often, but I was angry and I had to leave. I had to just leave, dismiss myself. So I went around, I would take a walk, just to take a breather, like a real fast walk.
Yep. Write an angry note, throw it out, take a walk.
As I was doing, I was complaining to God. It's like, I can't believe this. I was so uptight, so upset. And I felt like God saying to me, I didn't give you this to stress you. I gave you this to bless you. And it changed my whole mentality. And this is where we're talking about the obstacle opportunity thing. It's like, oh, to bless me. So if this is supposed to be a blessing, then we get to figure out together what we're going to do about this problem. We got a new obstacle here, right? I have no video. What am I going to do, right? So he gave me some really creative ideas to pull it off. And so here's what I learned from that is whenever you're hitting that wall is designed for you to overcome it in some way. So pray through it. If you're not a Christian, just get with somebody and get some new ideas about, hey, is there a way around this, through this? Do we blow it up? Do we ride a hot air balloon over it? What do we do? Do we, use some dynamite? What do we do with this wall? All right. And so as I was working through that, I came up with some creative solutions and we got the spot done. It turned out really well. All right. And so I learned from that, when I face an obstacle, don't get upset. Look for the way through. Because
getting upset helps nobody.
No, it doesn't.
Especially not yourself.
It doesn't help your creativity. When you start thinking of, problem, I wonder how we're going to get through this one. And if you got that attitude, that apply the creativity you apply to your writing, apply it to problems like that, and problems in your writing or problems around the writing, and that's going to help you. So I want to. Let me think here. I want to dive into this. So as far as when you're writing,
we got about 15 or 13 minutes left. So
okay, and I can make it short. But this is important. Yeah. As you're a writer, it's very rare you just write and it gets published. I mean, unless you're a self-published writer, that kind of thing, that can happen. Or when you get to a certain level, like George Lucas. George, he got to the point where he just produced stuff and they put it out there, and that can be a detriment if you don't have somebody honing or questioning what you're doing. All right. So don't be upset that somebody's questioning what you're doing. They're sharpening you. Mm-hmm. When you don't have that force against you that's sharpening you, your stuff comes out dull. And I'm a big George Lucas fan, but there came a point where it's like, oh, George. But anyway, because at some point, he was surrounded by yes people. I mean, when he was forced to defend his ideas, and they were challenged and he came up with solutions, that's when he was at his best. When you don't have that conflict working against you, then your work suffers. You really need that antagonistic force to help you. And sometimes but anyway, so there's that.
Necessity is the mother of invention type sort of deal.
Yeah. And that's necessity is you're going to be working with, most likely, if as an accomplished writer, you're going to be working with a producer or a director. You're going to be working with a team, or you're going to be working with an editor. You're going to be working with a co-writer or co-writers. So you're going to be working with other people who have a different vision. So how do you handle that? So I'm going to give you some things that I've learned, and I'll wrap it up in 10 minutes. But this is really good stuff. This will help you as you're working with somebody that is in charge of story, and you're writing the story. You're the writer, but you're facing that force that says, I don't like this or whatever. All right, so here's what you do. Here's what I do. Part of my job as a writer is I don't want to be a yes man. I don't think I serve my clients well, my producer well, my editor well. If I'm just yes, whatever you say. If I really believe strongly in something, I will tell them. All right, so here's what I do. I'll specifically talk about a producer. All right. When I'm working with a producer, here's what I do. as I'm working with the producer, I feel very strongly about something. I'm passionate about it. I will let them know. Okay, I feel passionate about this, and usually give bullet points because of this, that kind of thing. Here's what I feel when they're saying no, this won't work or whatever. I'll give them and usually if they're a collaborative producer, even my type A person, I'll put Mark Hamby out there. Mark Hamby with Lamplighter Theater, type A personality, just gung ho, get it done. Kind of normally in real life, in normal life, he'd be a bulldozer, but he listens. He respects people that work with him. And I really, really appreciate that about Mark. So if he's really passionate about something, and I'm passionate about something, we're kind of butting heads on it, two things will happen. One is I'll list out, here's why I believe we need to do this, all right? And if he listens to me, by the way, if you're a producer, make sure you listen to people, okay? Make sure you hear them out and consider carefully what they're doing. And you pretty much want to go with what they're doing unless you really feel it's wrong, okay? But anyway, little side there. So as long as I'm heard and I'm listened to, and they still say, you know what, I hear what you're saying, but I really feel we need to do it this way. Then I give once, okay? And then I'll give one more time. I'll throw in, I'll save myself one more time, okay? I'll put in one more little thing. Well, you see, I'll save myself that one extra one, and then that's it. I'm done. Okay, so I put in my protest. I'll protest one more time at the right time. I'll just kind of put it in there, just want to put on one more thing, and then at some point you got to say, okay, I'm done. Okay. And then you've got to work around it. So that's something I do as I'm working with a producer. So there we go. And that will help you.
Well, what happens to a producer? Well,
go ahead.
I'm sure you've, between actors, producers, other directors, CEOs, whoever you brush elbows with, what if they're just not pleasant to work with and just,
you fire them?
Well, I'm not even. Obviously, but what if you're not in the position to fire?
Well, and you don't just. By the way, you don't just let somebody go. You just if there's a pattern there and you feel you're not growing or you're not being. Sometimes you're put in a crucible to learn something. Again, this is the God factor. It's like, okay, am I here to learn something? Am I supposed to learn something in the crucible, or is it time? Or maybe this is like the nest is getting uncomfortable. This was nice and it felt good, but now it's not so nice anymore. It might be time to move on. So you got to figure out what it is. Is this a crucible, or is this a nest that's become uncomfortable? A crucible, you stay in. The uncomfortable nest, it's time to fly. All right. So you got to figure out what the pivot point is. So let me tell you something beautiful, and we'll wrap up with this. We might have talked about this earlier. We talked about the tertium quid. Did we talk about that?
That's a first. I'm not sure I'm familiar with that.
Okay, we're gonna wrap up the show. We're gonna wrap up the show with the tertium quid. I read
is that like
term.
The Kobayashi Maru? Is that?
I'm sure it's exactly like that. So tertium quid is
Star Trek fans out there are grimacing.
Yes. Tertium is Latin for something. I'm sorry, quid is Latin for something. Tertium is third, so it's a third something. Here's how it comes into play. The beauty of the tertium quid. I learned this working with Mark Hamby, which, as I pointed out, he could be a bulldozer if he wanted to. He's the CEO. He runs Lamplighter. That's what he does. And he's got the personality, just like that guy has amazing faith, has amazing, oh my, what God does with him, it's amazing. So anyway, he's very strong about something. So here's what will happen. We're going along in a show, right? We're talking over notes, and we'll talk it back and forth. I don't like this so much. I'm talking about what Mark inserted, and he'll say, why not? And I'll say, okay, because of this. He says, okay. And then next one, okay. He's going, okay, a little bit too much. Okay. It's like he's agreeing too much. Something is up here. Going through the show. And also we get to this point about 3/4 of the show, and he says, okay, this is my hill to die on. We've got to do it this way. And I look at it, it's like, that's not working. Here's why. Bullet points. Okay, here's why it's not working. When he's sitting done, we got to do it this way. I think, Mark, it's not working. Here's what we do. Here's the secret. We pray. What happens is when you do that, you get on a level playing field.
Yeah.
And 100% of the time, it's never failed, has not failed. 100% of the time, like in the middle of the prayer, right after the prayer, all of a sudden, boom. Oh, because I listen to Mark. Listening is both sides. He's listening to me, but I'm listening to him, what he really wants out of this. And we're working through that, right? And then either during the prayer or right after the prayer, all of a sudden it's like, oh, wow, wait. Realize if we do this and do this, that'll solve your problem. That'll solve my problem. It's a third something that we never would have thought of if we hadn't had humbled ourselves and listened to each other.
Yeah.
As we did that, as we humbled ourselves, and it was as we listened to each other, and I'll kudos to Mark, because again, Mark could say my way or the highway. He could do that, but he doesn't do that. He says, let's work it through. And all of a sudden we come up with a tertium quid that is way better than his idea.
Yeah.
Way better than my idea. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. It's way better than any one of those ideas. It's the third something, the tertium quid, that happened when we humbled ourselves, listened to each other, and truly collaborated. That's when the magic happens.
You heard it here first, folks. How to make magic in writing.
Tertium quid.
The tertium quid. That's awesome.
Right. Yeah. And I'm not going to spell it for you.
Is that something that that he introduced to you, or you kind of figured out together?
The principle we
just
worked
that
out
just
together,
that process.
The term came to me as I was thinking about it. It just I read it in textbook or something, or I heard that term, and it's like, oh, I like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, there we go.
I can't wait for you to break out any other Latin phrase.
Oh yeah, yeah. That makes me sound like a pseudo intellectual. Yeah, there you go.
Have you produced things? Is that on your resume, or
I produce things? I have produced things. Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh,
So
things. Oh,
how about this?
Yeah.
What is the biggest thing as a producer, a writer, at least a fledgling writer, will not understand?
From a producing point of view?
From a producing point of view, like they're
like,
like, why is it this way? Why can't it be this way? Just something that the average Joe beginner writer just doesn't get.
Oh, sure. And I realize we're going to wrap up too, because I don't want it to be too long. But with the mostly it's like budget. I guess when you work with screenplays and movies, producers are always looking at the budget. And if you think of something like you're going to fill, I'm going to borrow from, oh, come on, that guy. I'm a big fan of his, and I can't think of his name right now. But anyway, if you fill up a stadium with, you're gonna make the world's giant sundae, right? And you fill up the stadium with whipped cream and you put a cherry on top. And this sounds really great as a writer. As a producer, you're going, there's no way we can afford that, even with special effects, okay? They're always looking at budget. So you got to be thinking budget too. You got to work with them. And you know what? It comes down to this. It comes down to listening to what they're saying. And remember that obstacle we talked about the very first. We're talking about obstacle. When you run into an obstacle, this all fits in beautifully. When you run an obstacle with your producer and you're working through that, like he's thinking this way, you're thinking this way. A good example, Walt Disney Concert Hall. If you ever looked at it, I'm not really into modern art, but it's a beautiful piece. It's like the architecture is amazing. So you had an architect and you had an acoustic engineer, one of the best in the world. And they had to work through problems like, I want to have this shape. And the acoustic guy said, no, that's going to mess up this. So they had to work together. And each one of those obstacles came up with a tertium quid. They came up with a third something as they worked together. The key is listen to your producer, listen to the problem, try to see it from their point of view. They're listening to you, you're listening to each other, and shoot for that tertium quid, that third something that's going to be that sweet spot that solves it for both of you. And if you're listening to each other and truly respecting each other, you'll get there. And that's where the beautiful things happen.
I feel like that's excellent marriage advice as well.
Oh, wow. That's next show.
Oh, God.
As a bonus. Oh, real quick. We got to wrap up. But January 29th. Real quick. Sign up. Please sign up. I'm not begging you. I'm saying you don't want to miss this.
No,
that's
we're
what I'm
begging
saying,
you.
please.
No, we're begging. But no.
There's no reason to. It's sort of like I've got a plate of cookies here.
Yeah,
wonderful baked cookies.
Yeah,
they smell wonderful,
want to share.
but I'm not
going
to force them up your nose. It's like you just. Plus, that'd be unpleasant. But I get so off track with you, Brian. So anyway, the plate of cookies. They're delicious. They're wonderful. If you don't,
they're
like
shoved
them,
up your nose.
That's okay. That's all right. I've got cookies for other people too.
Yeah.
We want you part of this. You guys have been with us since the beginning. And we want you part of this. It's a seminar coming up January 29th. It's coming up very quickly, like this week, right? And
yes,
it's going to be at 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Saturday, 10 a.m. Pacific time, 1 p.m. Eastern. And we're going to talk about it's called the art of the start. Have you ever wondered how do I get started? I'm like overwhelmed with all this stuff. How do you get started? If you're facing the blank page and you're going, yikes, how am I going to, you're facing voices and you're running into obstacles. We're going to show you how to get over that. I'm going to show you how to overcome that. if you've gotten through your story and you hit an obstacle, it's like, oh man, what am I going to do? We talked about obstacles, right? We're going to help you through that. We're going to coach you through that. I'm going to give you a blueprint. I'm going to give you ideas. I'm going to give you a formula. I'm going to give you some ideas. These things will help you to overcome those obstacles, overcome that fear, overcome that, oh no, what am I doing kind of thing. I'm going to help you through that. And a bonus, I'm going to bring in Robert Lipparillo. He's an amazing writer. This guy is a fantastic writer, Christian thriller writer. That's okay. He's written like 7 amazing thrillers. Dreamhouse Kings is his big best-selling series, did for young adults. His 9 books that he's written that are actually direct for movies right now. This guy's an amazing writer. I'm going to bring him in as a bonus. Okay, it's a $500 seminar. It's $500. All right, and it's coming up, but we're going to do it for you for free, absolutely free.
No moolah.
So we want you part of that. Please sign up and tell your friends about it.
Yes. How to sign up is I will have a Zoom link on kind of our advertising piece. And at the very bottom of that will be a Zoom link. You registered for that meeting and you'll be able to join when the day comes. If you don't have a Facebook, don't use Facebook, or would just prefer to email us at storychatwithjohn@gmail.com. I will respond with a link to the Zoom meeting, and which you'll be able to join up that way. If you have emailed me by this point and haven't gotten your Zoom link, go ahead and email me again. If it reaches the 28th and you still haven't gotten your Zoom link, email me again. It might have gotten lost in the kerfuffle. You never know. We want to make sure you guys are there. We want to see people there and take advantage of this, because this is an awesome opportunity with John and Bob.
Yeah, I cannot wait to bring you what we're going to bring you, and I want to get you launched. The world needs your story. I'm going to say it one more time. I want this to hit home. The world needs your story. The world needs hope. The world needs inspiration. The world is grappling with a lot of stuff right now, a lot of darkness. They need some light, and you're going to give it to them. I'm going to show you how to do it, how to get it out there. So be part of that. I'd love to have you part of that. And you'll be chatting with us too. We could actually meet like live. It'll be awesome. I can't wait for that part of it. And just to talk with you guys. So be part of it. Don't miss it. It's going to be like a writing party, writing challenge, writing fun, and we'll have a blast.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of StoryChat. If you want to hear more, don't forget to subscribe to the podcast. If you have any questions for John or feedback on the show, please email us at storychatwithjohn@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. We'll see you next time.